Would you relive your life if you could? You know, that's an interesting question. I thought about that because I was talking to a guy at our clubhouse, at our retirement community, and we were just talking about the life we had and what we did and what a full life we've had. And he kind of said to me, and he was like probably in his 80s, he said, yeah, I just wish I could do it again. I wish I could do it again. And that kind of gets you thinking, would you do it again if you could? If you could opt in to relive your life over again, would you do it? Not to make a value on the life you have lived. You may have lived a wonderful life like I have, and you may just want to do it again. Or you may have messed up the first time and you may want another shot at it. Regardless, would you opt in to relive your life again if you could? Well, you know, you have some people who say, you know, if I knew then what I know now, if I knew then what I know now, you know, my life would be different. So I guess when I'm asking if you could relive your life kind of with the wisdom and everything you've acquired throughout your life, but it's not to compare your life, but just with that knowledge and experience and wisdom that you have accumulated through living your life now, would you opt in to relive it again if you could? Let us know in the comments what you think about that. That's just an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, I think I would like to try it again, to do it again. You know, I would be a totally different person. I started off very shy and very, you know, I lived in middle Georgia, in a rural county in middle Georgia. And, you know, I can see things early on, like especially in high school, that I could do differently. There's no need to be that shy back in high school. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a football player and a track star, and I have no reason to complain whatsoever. But, you know, you have all those cliques in high school, you have the smart kids and the popular kids and all that stuff. And, you know, probably at the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference at all. But you kind of look at that and you think, wow, you know, that didn't have to be that way. You know, what was that? Another person I talked to said they grew up in across the railroad tracks and in their community, and that when they went to high school, you know, you had the people that lived on one side of the tracks, and they socialized with those people, and the other people, you know, were kind of looked down on because they came from the wrong side of the tracks. Well, the person who was telling me that turned out to be a very successful person. You know, educated, very smart, done wonderful in their career, you know, financially independent, you know, all that stuff. That's not me, by the way. But my town was so small, we didn't have any wealthy people or non-wealthy people. We're kind of all the same. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're not all the same. This was back before, you know, this was segregation. So we certainly had black sections of town that was in extreme poverty. And, you know, I hate the way that was the way it was, but that's the way it was. It really was. In middle Georgia, that was definitely the way it was. Everybody accepted that. Even if you lived in a community like that, you accepted that. And how much that's changed is absolutely amazing in our lifetime, that's for sure. But I know those people, if they were deciding, yeah, they could live their life over today, would be drastically different than it was back then. So it really depends on who you are and what kind of life you had. But, you know, I could see that would be like night and day just about. So if you could relive your life again, what would you do differently? You know, what have you learned that you would do differently? I already said in high school, I wouldn't be quite as shy. I don't know that I even went on a date in high school. I mean, I did go to the senior prom, junior senior prom my junior year, and my mother lined up a date for me. How about that? I remember her. She was a nice girl, and I bought her a corsage, and we went, and I don't know. We just sat at the table and watched the show. I guess that was about it. We did go to an after party, actually. Come to think of it, they did have an after party. But I think high school, many people have feelings about high school like that. It was so cliquish. It didn't have to be that way, but it's so you thought it was so important to be popular, or some people did. And, of course, grades were important. I didn't put too much emphasis on grades in high school. I played sports all the time. It seems like that was the big thing. And as far as studying and everything, I didn't study like I should. I was probably a C+ student, in high school. I mean, I did okay, except for 2 years of French when I never learned a word, I don't think. But, that's just the way it was. Now, going to college, I went right away to college, and I majored in accounting because my brother told me that was a good thing to major in. And that was very good advice, and I did study. I buckled down and studied, in college, because I pretty well had to. Accounting was a fairly difficult subject, and it took some studying, and I wasn't used to studying. So that's something I had to learn. And socially and everything, especially with girls and everything, opened up in college as compared to high school. So other than that, I mean, I lived the life I wanted to live. I mean, my career went well, and everybody has ups and downs, get fired and things like that. I've always found when I got fired, I got a better job. It was an opportunity. It's like they say, one door opens, one door closes, one door opens. And so I never missed a beat. I'd find a job right away, except for the recession of 1975. They terminated me because they were eliminating the division, and I was a senior accountant, and they gave me in October. And of course, you can't find a job in the wintertime, so they paid me 3 months through December. So financially I was fine, but nobody was hiring in that recession of, I think, 1975, and we had just bought our house, a new house, with a VA loan, and that was in the middle of 75, and then 2 months later, I lost my job. But we made it. My wife was working, and I actually went and started cutting firewood. I had a buddy who managed timber, and he said, "You can cut all the firewood you want." So I had a truck. I traded my tiller for a truck, and then I went and got a chainsaw, and I cut firewood by myself out in the woods, and I would stack it in the truck, and I go beside the road, and I sell it like $70 for a full load of wood, and I did that over and over. Then I bought a heater ventilator for the fireplace. So we didn't run the heater. We put that forced air heater in the fireplace, and I used the firewood that I was cutting to heat the house. We got along fine. January, I got a new job. No problem. So that worked out. Things seem to work out. For me, it seems like, I mean, I never looked at them like failures or anything. I just always looked to the future and kept improving. So I wouldn't want to live my life again just to see if I can improve it. Anything you would change if you had to go back? You could go back. But anyway, I'm just walking in the woods and thinking, and I thought I'd share that with you. And if you have any points to make on that, please leave it down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about this. That's never going to happen, to relive your life again, I don't think. But it's kind of an interesting, thought experiment. So thanks for walking with me, and we will talk to you later.